the final minutes of this procedure to send the Progress on its way. The Soyuz vehicle is a three-stage vehicle, as we said before. The first stage consisting of a main engine and strap-on solid boosters. The second stage, a single engine, and the third stage, a single engine. The way the ascent profile breaks down is the launch again is scheduled at 3:24 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 2:24 and 27 seconds a.m. Baikonur time on Friday morning. The first stage separation will be 1 minute and 58 seconds after launch, followed just a minute and 5 seconds later by the jettisoning of the launch shroud that encompasses or envelops the upper stage of the three-stage Soyuz booster, and that will expose the Progress vehicle itself to the rigors of the rest of the launch profile heading uphill. The second stage engine will shut down at a mission elapsed time of 4 minutes and 37 seconds, followed 10 seconds later by the separation of the second stage. The third stage skirt jettison will occur at 4 minutes and 56 seconds into the flight, with the shutdown of the third stage calculated at 8 minutes and 46 seconds after launch. Just 3 seconds later, the third stage will separate and the command will be issued for the deployment of the solar arrays on the Progress 91 cargo vehicle, as well as its navigational antennas. The countdown milestones coming up at the T-minus 7 minute mark into the countdown, about 10.5 minutes from now. The launch conductor at the blockhouse in Baikonur will insert a launch key in the launch bunker. It's a real key that transitions the launch sequence into its automated mode. At T-minus 5.5 minutes before launch, Launch Control will give a final report on the range at Baikonur that it should be clear for launch and the Soyuz rocket ready to begin its journey. A minute and a half later, onboard systems will be switched to onboard control, followed by the purging of nitrogen for the fuel lines and other elements of the rocket engines to fireproof them by removing vapors of fuel and oxidizer, particularly from the base of the rocket. At about the T-minus 2 minute 45 second mark, the booster tank will be pressurized for flight, optimizing the flow of fuel, helping to add structural support to the rocket. And about a minute and 15 seconds later, the ground propellant feed will be terminated, with the vehicle fully fueled with a replenishment of the fuel it needs to head uphill. That ground propellant feed will then be terminated. The Soyuz booster will go on internal power. Auto-sequencing will begin at about the T-minus 1 minute mark. 35 seconds before launch, the first of two umbilicals that are buttressed up against the side of the Soyuz booster will retract. At about the T-minus 30 second mark, the ground umbilical will be fully disconnected. The launch command will be issued, and at the T-minus 15 second mark, the second umbilical tower will separate. That will initiate the engine sequence start. The Soyuz will come up to full throttle, and the launch arms will basically separate, and the Soyuz will be on its way. We are counting down to the launch of the Progress 91 cargo vehicle less than 16 minutes from now. It is a frosty 24 degrees Fahrenheit at the launch site in Baikonur. They had quite a bit of snow earlier in the week, but that will not deter this launch. It is perfect winter weather for the Russians to send this Progress 91 cargo ship on its way to the International Space Station and an automated docking on Saturday afternoon.
Первый. Есть переход на бортовое питание. 60-й. Доклад 60-го принял. Первый. Готовность к пуску 10 минут. Первый. Готовность к пуску 10 минут принял. 20-й. Готовность к пуску 10 минут принял. 30-й. Готовность к пуску 10 минут принял. 50-й.
You're hearing the conversation from the launch conductor at the blockhouse in Baikonur, providing updates on the status of the countdown. Everything is in great shape. All systems are go for launch 14 minutes and 50 seconds from now. This view shows the very top of the Soyuz 2.1A booster, and enveloped in that upper stage is the Progress 91 cargo craft, which will reach its preliminary orbit about 8 minutes and 45 seconds after launch. Once it separates from the third stage of the Soyuz booster, the upper stage, the command will be given for the Progress to automatically deploy its solar arrays and navigational antennas. This will begin a series of what they call DV maneuvers, delta velocity maneuvers, automatic firings of the Progress engine to basically increase its altitude in a stair-step fashion to match the altitude of the International Space Station for the start of automated rendezvous operations on Saturday afternoon. Once the Progress docks to the aft port of the Zvezda service module on Saturday, the cosmonauts on board the station, Alexei Ovchinin and Alexander Gorbanov, will be busy unpacking, and Ivan Wagner will be busy conducting leak checks at the docking interface between the Progress and the Zvezda service module before the hatch will be open to the Progress to enable the cosmonauts to begin unloading the Progress cargo. Once again, you're looking at a live view from Site 31, Launch Pad 6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Countdown clocks ticking backward for the liftoff of the Soyuz 2.1A booster just 11.5 minutes from now to send the Progress 91 cargo ship on its way towards an automated rendezvous and docking to the International Space Station on Saturday afternoon. Just to recap, the Progress is loaded with 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the Expedition 72 crew aboard the International Space Station. The breakdown again, 2,599 pounds of hardware, food, and experiments for the crew members, 2,095 pounds of fuel, 926 pounds of water, 110 pounds of nitrogen. Most of the key activities in the countdown will get underway here within the next 3 minutes, as we outlined just a minute ago. The flight control team in Korolyov at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow, carefully watching their data. The launch controllers in Baikonur also keeping close tabs on the vehicle. Everything is reported to be in great shape. No issues being worked down at the blockhouse in Baikonur as we count down the final 10 minutes toward the liftoff of this resupply mission to the International Space Station. Again, this Soyuz booster with the Progress 91 cargo craft rolled out from its assembly hangar and its integration building just a short distance away from the launch pad at Site 31 in Baikonur on Tuesday morning. As is customary, it rolled out horizontally on a railroad car, reached the launch pad about 30 minutes after the start of rollout, was hoisted by hydraulics to a vertical position and locked down on the launch pad, ready for final preparations with the gantry arms having closed around the rocket to enable technicians to hook up fuel lines, data lines, and power lines to the spacecraft. Those gantry arms spread or retracted about 30 minutes ago to expose the rocket for the final 8.5 minutes of this countdown. T-minus 8 minutes and counting, about 1 minute away from the launch key being inserted in the launch bunker to transition the launch sequence into its automated mode.
Минутная готовность. Минутную готовность принял 20-й. Минутную готовность принял 30-й. Минутную готовность принял 50-й. Минутную готовность принял 60-й. Минутную готовность принял 70-й.
You can see in this wider view of the Soyuz 2.1A booster the venting of liquid oxygen. The ground propellant feed is replenishing fuel to the vehicle for the first stage in particular. That ground propellant feed will be terminated about 5.5 minutes from now.
Первый. Сброс шалого объекта проведен. Замечаний нет. Космический аппарат к запуску готов. 60-й. Доклад 60-го принял. Первый. Есть готовность систем комплекса 30-й. Доклад 30-го принял. Первый.
Coming up on the T-minus 6 minute mark, no issues being worked down in Baikonur, where launch time will be early Friday morning. Again, the precise launch time today is 3:24 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 2:24 and 27 seconds a.m. Baikonur time on Friday morning. The launch key has now been inserted in the launch bunker. Launch sequence now in its automated mode. T-minus 5 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. T-minus 5 minutes and counting. Everything is in great shape for the launch of the Soyuz 2.1A booster.
Есть продувка 30-й. Есть продувка 70-й. Доклады руководителя работ принял. Первый.
We're coming up on the milestone of onboard systems being switched to onboard control. Today's launch occurring as the Expedition 72 crew aboard the International Space Station begins its sleep period. Having passed the T-minus 4-minute mark, the next milestone will be the pressurization of the booster tank for flight. Once again, this helps to optimize the flow of fuel and to add structural support for the rocket as it stands for its final minutes on the launch pad. This is the same launch pad that will see NASA's Johnny Kim and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zubritsky launching from on April 8th on the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft to begin the next phase of crew rotation after the commercial crew rotation of the Crew 10 and Crew 9 crews that is scheduled in March. T-minus 2 minutes 30 seconds until launch. T-minus 2 minutes and counting. The International Space Station flying over the South Atlantic. The ground propellant feed now being terminated. Coming up on the T-minus 1 minute mark, the Soyuz about to go on internal power for auto sequence start. In about 15 seconds, the first of the two umbilicals buttressed up against the side of the Soyuz booster will retract. Internal power confirmed. The first umbilical now retracting. T-minus 20 seconds. The second umbilical about to retract. We have the sequence for engine start. Engines coming up to full throttle. Turbo pumps at full power. 3, 2, 1. And liftoff. Liftoff of the Progress 91 cargo ship on a delivery run to the International Space Station. The engines are at estimated flight speed, good roll, pitch, and yaw program. The Soyuz booster arcing out to the northeast from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. All engines operating normally. Good structural parameters reported from the blockhouse at Baikonur. – 45 seconds into the flight. Good stability on the vehicle as it heads uphill. Engine chamber pressures are nominal.
60. Тангаж, рысканье, вращение.
1 minute, 6 seconds into the flight. About 50 seconds left for first stage performance. One minute, 20 seconds into the flight. Good structural parameters reported on the Soyuz booster. One minute, 45 seconds into the flight, about 15 seconds away from first stage separation. We now have confirmation of first stage shutdown and separation. First stage shutdown occurring at an altitude of 30 miles, 73 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the vehicle traveling some 4,000 miles an hour. Second stage engine up and running, performing normally. Structural parameters still reported to be nominal at the 2.5 minute mark into the flight. Second stage performance reported to be nominal. 6 minutes of powered flight remaining. Coming up on the 3 minute mark into the flight. Mark 3 minutes.
минуты, 27 секунд, 328 миллисекунд.
230.
We have the
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
has encapsulated the progress vehicle, now exposed to the ascent profile.
240.
2.5 minutes into the flight.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
About 1 minute.
250.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
Down and separates. Before that happens, the third stage engine will ignite.
260.
Overlap between
Параметры
the second and third
конструкции
stages.
ракеты-носителя в норме.
Now, from a camera on the upper stage of the Soyuz booster, looking back down.
270.
Параметры
minutes into the
системы
flight.
управления
4 minutes
ракеты-носителя
and
в норме.
45 seconds of powered flight remaining.
280.
Прошел гарантийный надув бака окислителя третьей ступени.
Second stage performance right on the money according to the launch controllers in
290.
Baikonur.
Есть запуск
4 minutes,
двигателя
20
третьей
seconds into
ступени.
the flight.
Есть выключение двигателя второй ступени. Есть
Good view
отделение
from
второй
the upper
ступени.
stage camera looking back down the length of the
Есть
Soyuz
сброс
booster.
панели хвостового отсека.
310.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
320.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
330.
Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально.
And we have confirmation of second stage shutdown and separation.
340.
Параметры системы
Third stage
управления в
engine up
норме.
and running. 5 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight. 3.5 minutes of powered flight remaining.
350.
Полет нормальный.
All vehicle parameters, all structural parameters still reported to be nominal by the flight controllers
360.
both in Baikonur and at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov.
370.
Параметры
Good
конструкции
performance by the third
ракеты-носителя в
stage
норме.
engine. 5 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight. 3 minutes of powered flight remaining.
380.
Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально.
340. 390.
Параметры
6
системы
minutes into the
управления
flight.
ракеты-носителя
So
в
far,
норме.
right on the money. Perfect ascent profile for the Soyuz 2.1A booster, now under the power of the singular engine of its third stage.
410.
Полет нормальный.
420.
Тангаж,
6.5
рыканье,
minutes into the flight.
вращение в норме.
Liftoff from Site 31, Launch Pad 6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome was as planned
430.
at 3:24
Двигатель третьей
and
ступени
27
работает
seconds
нормально.
p.m. Central Time, 2:24 and 27 seconds a.m. Baikonur time on
440.
Friday morning.
Стабилизация
6
изделия
minutes, 50
устойчивая.
seconds into the flight, less than 2 minutes of powered flight remaining.
450.
Полет нормальный.
460.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
Third stage
470.
performance still nominal, 7
Двигатель
minutes, 20
третьей
seconds
ступени
into the flight.
работает нормально.
Once again, at about the 8-minute 46-second mark, the third stage
480.
engine will shut down, third
Параметры
stage
системы
separation will occur,
управления в норме.
and the automated command will be issued for the progress to deploy its solar rays and
490.
navigational antennas.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
7 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight, 1 minute of powered flight
500.
remaining.
Полет нормальный.
510.
Тангаж, рысканье,
8 minutes
вращение
into the
в
flight,
норме.
so far so good. Progress on its way to its preliminary orbit.
520.
Параметры системы управления в норме.
530.
8 minutes, 20
Есть
seconds into the
выключение
flight, about 30
двигателя
seconds of
третьей
powered flight
ступени.
left.
Есть отделение транспортного грузового корабля «Прогресс МС-30» номер 460. Транспортный грузовой корабль «Прогресс МС-30» выведен на орбиту искусственного спутника
8 minutes,
Земли.
35
Репорт
seconds into the flight. We're
транспортного
standing
грузового
by for
корабля
third stage
«Прогресс
shutdown and
МС-30» номер
separation.
460 окончен.
And we've had third stage shutdown and third stage separation. Now we'll wait for the command to be issued for the deployment of the solar
Уважаемые
rays and
друзья, мне
navigational
кажется, это
antennas
был
on
один из
progress.
самых интересных запусков, даже с точки зрения отработки всех камер, которые
And we now have confirmation of all of the appendages having been deployed on progress. The solar rays and navigational antennas have all been deployed normally after a flawless launch and ascent to orbit. A good ride from the Soyuz 2.1A booster, depositing the Progress 91 cargo ship and 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the Expedition 72 crew into its preliminary orbit.